Good morning, everybody. First of all, thank you for the introduction. Within my time limit, I'll speak about the green mobility and electrification of vehicle that's happening in the Emirates of Dubai, and our also vision toward the 2030 and beyond. So Dubai vision with respect to EV and hybrid penetration is basically part of energy transition that is happening globally across the world. And if we look at the energy transition, it's not only the mobility and the electrical vehicle. I think we have bigger picture looking into the supply side, which is the power generation getting cleaner by increasing the share of renewable energy. And we have a target of 27% and 2030, which is 25%, and 2050, 75% renewable. And not only, I think these are not only figures to be announced. I think we have acted already on these targets in terms of putting this renewable capacity on the ground. Already we have reached around 7% now before 2020, and bigger projects are coming. The photovoltaic 800 is under construction, the CSP 700 megawatt under construction, and slowly we're reaching our target. Back to the mobility, the EV that we have, I think in order to understand, to have a successful adaptation, we need to understand the energy transition that it requires. It requires changes in interrelated dimension, including policy framework that we're putting together, including the market development that's happening in Dubai, connecting with the dealers, also the infrastructure that we have on the grid and the supply side to ensure that the grid can take the penetration of EV, including infrastructure, the power charging point. As we speak today, we already have reached around 300 charging points, so this will also be an enabler to increase the penetration of EV. So bringing, on the international level, bringing the topic, I would say the driver to the EV and the hybrid and the cleaner, I think, mode of transportation is basically happening because of the limitation on the fossil fuel, petrol and diesel and the horizon 2050, the increase in consumption as well. The major city also demanding air quality to be improved, which is basically connected to health and to environment. Also the price of battery and the advancement of battery technology is also part of the motive. So if we look at the international picture, China and Norway, we can hear that they have been leading the way. China have already have around 400,000 EV buses, more than 2 million EV, and they have already restricted the use of four-wheeler in many of their major cities. Norway also, we heard that they are leading the way in terms of their new sale for the current year has surpassed the EV sale has surpassed the sale of petrol and diesel. And also Norway has announced that they will not consider buying petrol and fossil fuel car beyond 2025. C40 city also, which Dubai is part of, have committed to purchase only EV buses beyond 2025. So there are many things are happening on the international level. So bringing the topic locally to Dubai, I say this whole thing started with declaration of having 10% EV share by 2030. And followed that, there are many initiatives undertaken that we have pursued in Dubai, including the infrastructure for charging point, which is already being built and progressing. As I said before, 300 charging points already between private and government already put in place. The policy framework in terms of directive, we have already mandated all government entities to consider 10% EV and hybrid in their new purchase. So this is also happening. We have created a committee also representing government to monitor this progress. As we speak today, our target to reach 10% penetration for all fleet, all government fleet by 2020. So today, based on the directive, based on the activation of this, we have reached around 6% or 6.5 share of EV hybrid for all government. So we are very much on target to reach 10% by 2020 for government, and then for the for all Dubai, I think I said 10% by 2030. But for this, we understand that we need to have incentive, we need to introduce incentive, we need to connect with the car dealers in terms of making sure they bring enough model to the region, to the city, to the Emirates, so we can also connect with the private car user in terms of making a campaign, all-around campaign, which we did in Dubai called E-Sayyara. So that is part of our part of the education to make the public aware of what's happening. We don't want to think by 2030 or by 2025 that we have not started this. We hear that the price parity for EV is expected to be in 2023. So that is itself gives us motive to start early to ensure that we are on track. My final word, I would say that the share of EV is coming across, but in terms of percentage, still insignificant. So the question is, will the electric vehicle have a big share by 2030 based on all, I think, all the undertakings that are happening across the world. With this, I would like to stop here and thank you very much.